I want to tell you something I have never said on camera before. There was a period in my life where I wasn't suicidal, but I didn't see the point in living. Not because I hated my life. I had a job I liked, people who loved me. Everything was fine. Everything was just gray. And I couldn't figure out why. I'm Dr. June Christian. I am a leadership consultant. I am the grown Latchkey kid auntie and the founder of Pineapple Lampshade Consultancy. I work with high capacity leaders, the ones who are excellent at everything except stopping. I'm noticing across folks my age or around my age something called grown latchkey kid syndrome. I call it that because I needed language for what I was living before I could change it. This video is that language. And if you've ever felt fine on paper and empty in your body, this one is for you. I want to talk about something I call the gray life. The gray life isn't depression. I was in therapy. I was functioning. Matter of fact, I would say that I was high functioning. I was high achieving. I was doing everything right by every metric that mattered to the people around me, but I couldn't feel joy. And here's what made it confusing for me. I didn't know what was wrong because nothing was really wrong. You see, that's the thing about the gray life. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with a diagnosis or a crisis or a breakdown. It comes with sameness. It comes with the feeling that this is just what life is now. For me, it started when my mother's cognitive decline began. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I want to be clear about that. But I think what happened is this. I built my entire sense of worth around my ability to achieve, to fix, to control outcomes. I was the prime example of a grown latchkey kid. I'd been taking care of things since I was young. That was my identity. That was how I knew I had value. And then when my mother started to slip away, slowly, in the way that cognitive decline works, where the person is still there, but not fully there, and I couldn't fix it, I couldn't achieve my way out of it, I could not control the outcome. And when I couldn't do that, I couldn't find myself. I felt so far from the life I thought I was building. The distance between who I was and who I saw myself becoming felt infinite. And when the gap between where you are and where you thought you'd be gets wide enough, life starts to feel pointless. Not because you want to die, but because you can't find a reason to be fully alive. That's the gray life. And I would be willing to bet that some of you are living in that right now. Not in crisis, not falling apart, just gray. After my mother died, I went back to working at Starbucks. I know. But here's the thing, it made sense at the time. It was familiar, it was structured, it required me to perform a version of myself that I'd been performing my whole life. The overwhelmed, overfunctioning, high achieving shell. I was excellent at that. I had been excellent at that since childhood. What I didn't know was that going back was the most expensive yes I'd ever said. Not because the job was bad, but because I said yes to it from survival mode. I said yes to it because I didn't know how to say no to what was familiar. I said yes to it because I confused performing with living, and my body kept that receipt. I couldn't feel the bottoms of my feet. I had panic attacks before meetings. I was working out too much and eating and sleeping, and that was it. That was my whole life. Work, work out, eat, sleep. repeat. My body was telling me something my mind refused to hear. Yes has a body count. That yes, going back to something that required me to be the shell instead of the person, cost me health issues that are only now resolving years later. That's what survival mode costs you when you stay in it long enough. It stops being a temporary state and starts being a chronic condition. And your body starts sending you invoices you didn't know that you had signed up for. It's a pattern that forms in childhood when you learn, either because someone taught you explicitly or because circumstances required it, that your needs come last. That yes keeps the peace, that no costs too much. You became the responsible one, the capable one, the one who handled things. And everyone around you rewarded you for it, called you strong, called you reliable, called you a leader. And if you're like me, you internalized all of it. You made it your identity. The problem is that survival mode, the hypervigilance, the overfunctioning, the people pleasing, the inability to say no was designed for a specific season of your life. It was designed for when you actually needed it, when you were young and the adults around you needed you to be okay, but you're not young anymore. And the adults in your life likely aren't in crisis. And the operating system is still running. You're not driven, you're running the program. And the program is expensive. I'm not just talking about the dollars, though we built a calculator for that, and we will get there. I'm talking about the gray, the distance, the feeling that you're going through the motions of a life that should feel like yours, but somehow doesn't. That's the cost that nobody puts on the receipt until now. I tried everything to find joy: pedicures, massages, late night Amazon hauls. I got the dopamine hit, the brief relief, and then it was gone and I was back in the gray. I realized something that changed everything. Joy is not lost. Joy isn't something that happens to you when good things occur. Joy is not the feeling you get when you get the promotion or book the vacation or finally pay off the car. Joy is a choice, not a feeling, a practice, a decision you make actively about what you will allow in your life and what you will not. Those sporadic moments of joy that I'd been chasing, they weren't accidents. They were choices I made unconsciously, accidentally, to be present, to do something that was aligned with who I actually was instead of who I had been performing. The problem wasn't I couldn't feel joy. The problem was that I had outsourced every choice in my life to survival mode. And survival mode doesn't actually choose joy. Survival mode chooses safety. Survival mode chooses familiarity. Survival mode chooses the gray because gray is known and known is safe. Joy requires you to choose something different. And you can't fully choose something different until you understand what the current choice is actually costing you. That's where the reset comes in. I built something called the Grown Latchkey Kid Survival Kit. It's free. It has 3 things inside: 13 symptoms of grown latchkey kid syndrome with a real-time score. Check out what's true, see where you land. Most people find out that they've been in survival mode so long, they started calling it a personality. What I like to call the GLKK, Grown Latchkey Kid Glossary. The language for everything you've been living without the words for. The yes text, the gray light, the wind trap, overfunctioning, the inaction sentence. You already know these things. You just haven't had the words for them yet. And the yes cost calculator. This is the only calculator in existence that puts a dollar amount on your vicarious trauma load, on the weight you're carrying from a world in crisis, the news, the violence, the political grief, the racial trauma in your body. It has a number. Go get yours. The link is in the description. The kit is free. And when you run that calculator and you see your number and it makes you put your phone down and stare at the ceiling, well, that's the moment the reset was built for. The Joyful Leader Reset. 14 days, $147. April 1st, 40 spots. Not a course, not a vibe, a framework, structured work. The thing that takes everything you just recognized in this video and makes you do something with it, makes you do something about it. Because joy is a choice, and you've been choosing gray for long enough. The link is in the description. Inaction is no longer a choice. It's a bet.